It was supposed to be a simple summer escape, just Ellie, her older brother Jamie, and their parents heading to the quiet, shadowy town of Ravensbrook for a week. Nestled between dense woods and rolling hills, the town was cloaked in an air of unsettling silence that Ellie couldn't quite shake. The old Victorian mansion at the edge of town, with its peeling paint and towering spires, was meant to be their rental, but Ellie felt a strange pull toward it, a whisper of curiosity that refused to fade. On their second night, as the moon dipped low and cast long, sinister shadows through the cracked stained glass windows, Ellie sat alone in her bedroom, flickering candle in hand. Outside, the wind howled like a beast, rattling the windows and making the trees scrape against the glass. It was then she heard it, soft, uneven footsteps outside her door. She paused, listening. The footsteps stopped. There was a faint, almost breathless hush. Ellie's heart pounded as she clutched her candle tighter. Maybe it was her imagination, or perhaps just the old house settling, but a strange chill crept its way down her spine. Slowly, she pushed the door open to peer into the dim hall. No one was there, just shadows dancing in the candlelight. She returned to her bed but couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. It was then that she saw it, a faint, red glow emanating from the darkened corner of her room. Ellie blinked, thinking it was just her eyes playing tricks, but the glow persisted, darker than any candle flame, pulsating softly like a heartbeat. She squinted and saw it. Two eyes, fiery and unblinking, staring back at her from the shadows. Panicked, she scrambled backwards, knocking over her lamp. The glow vanished. Heart hammering in her chest, Ellie pressed herself against the wall, trying to see in the darkness. When she finally felt brave enough to move, she tiptoed toward the window. Outside, the woods stretched endlessly, the trees swaying in the wind. She thought she saw a figure among the shadows, tall, cloaked, motionless. The next morning, she told Jamie about the strange glow and the eyes. He scoffed, dismissing it as her imagination, but Ellie knew better. Something was wrong in Ravensbrook, and it wasn't just her nerves. Over the next few days, strange things kept happening. Doors she'd locked were slightly ajar when she returned. Whispers echoed softly when she was alone. At night, she'd wake to a faint scent of blood on the air, and her reflection sometimes flickered in the mirror, showing her eyes, unusually dark and glossy, as if something had taken residence behind them. One afternoon, Ellie wandered into the town library, a dusty, ancient place that seemed frozen in time. As she leafed through the worn pages of an old tome about Ravensbrook's history, her eyes caught a passage about the town's darkest legend, the vampires that haunted its shadows. It told of a creature, called simply, the Watcher, that stalked the woods at night, feeding on the townsfolk, leaving behind only whispers of the past. The legend warned that the Watcher could enter the homes of its victims, creeping through cracks and shadows, its eyes glowing like dying embers. It was said that it could not be killed, only avoided, and that once seen by the creature, a person would never be the same again. A shiver ran down Ellie's spine. She looked around the quiet library, feeling a malevolent presence lurking just beyond her sight. That night, she decided to confront her fears. She stayed awake, clutching a crucifix she'd found in her grandmother's jewelry box and a flashlight. As midnight approached, the house grew colder. Shadows morphed and twisted into sinister shapes, and the warmth of her breath fogged the air. Suddenly, the window shattered with a deafening crash. Ellie froze as a dark, tall figure stepped inside, cloaked in tatters and shadow. Its eyes glowed crimson as it looked directly at her. For a moment, they stared, her trembling, its gaze predatory, yet oddly patient. The creature's voice was a rasp that felt like sucking air through thorns. "You see me," it whispered. "Now, you belong to the night." Ellie backed away, clutching her crucifix. It hissed and lunged, but Ellie dodged, stumbling out of the room and down the hall. She burst into her parents' bedroom, pounding on the door. Her father flung it open, brightening flashlight beam revealing nothing but an empty corridor. Yet the scent of blood lingered, thick and sickening. Her parents tried to calm her, but Ellie couldn't explain what she'd seen or felt. She knew the legend was true. She'd seen the eyes, the thing that had been watching her all along. That night, Ellie lay beneath her covers, heart pounding, listening for footsteps or whispers. The house remained eerily silent, but she knew better. Morning broke, and with it, the realization that she'd never truly escaped the shadows of Ravensbrook. The town's dark history had seeped into every crack and corner, and now, she was trapped in its grip. The legend, the creature, the watcher, they were still out there. Watching. Waiting. And Ellie could feel their gaze, heavy and unrelenting, piercing through the darkness, ready for the next night's hunt.